Hello and welcome to my channel. It's the Network Specialist. Please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and hit that notification bell so that you know each and every time I upload a video. All commentary is alleged and in my very own opinion and used for entertainment purposes only. And today we do have a lot of different topics to discuss. So now let's get into it. Hey, Mama Bees, thank you so much for being here, sis. Hey, Real Talk with Grace and Mercy. Thank you so much for being here, sis. Hey, Sharon Gobalt. Thank you so much for being here. Hey, sis, Aries Girl Podcast. Thank you so much for being here. So let's get into it. So, like I said, we will be discussing a few different topics. So, the first topic that I want to discuss is that shit show of a interview that Hotel and Coleslaw did with the side chick. Um, we're going to briefly talk about that. I know most of you have already seen it, so I'm just going to give my perspective on the interview. Hey, sis, it's Tay. Thank you so much for being here. So, the highlight of that interview was the fact that we found out that Marceau and Maurice were running trains and sleeping with women at the same damn time. And to most people, that is very disgusting. Okay. But I think that that's something that happens a lot in some smaller towns. And nothing, no shade to people who do live in, southern small towns or whatever the case may be. I've heard of different situations where cousins sleep with cousins and different things like that. And I'm sure that some of you guys have heard stories of this type of thing happening. And then I also want to add that I do believe that Martell was included in that train as well. Although the side chick did a good job of trying to keep Martell's name out of the mix, I just find it hard to believe that she was so adamant that he was, gambling the whole time. If you were drunk and in the room having sex with these brothers, how could you say and and be so sure that Martell was gambling the whole entire time? There's a lot of time that obviously Martell is MIA, and you insisted that he was gambling, which I don't believe, but you also was very adamant about the fact that you were that he was there when you needed him. How ironic is that? And just to try to keep up with these comments. Hey, Imani S, thank you so much for being here, sis. So, although, um, we do know that Martell tells a lot of lies as well as Arion. But in this situation, I don't believe that they would bring this girl, on her YouTube page um to say that she slept with these brothers if she didn't actually sleep with these brothers. And also I feel like for the most part she's telling the truth, for the simple fact of she had a lot of extra details about like the fact that she went to Ross, and Marceau was not trying to pay for the things that she wanted to purchase at Ross, and Martell just happened to be there at the time and insisted that I'm sorry, Marceau pay for her things. There's just too much added detail. Even when she spoke about being at Credit One, we've all heard the stories of what goes down at Credit One. And she also confirmed for us, when Kimmy used to say that, Maurice used to come home at 5 o'clock in the morning, but she didn't want to talk about it. And this side chick confirmed that, Marceau was always busy in the daytime. She could never meet up with him in the daytime. It was always between 2 to 4, at night which is when they do most of their dirt. So that leads me to believe that this girl is telling the truth, you know. So, and I just don't think that she would put her reputation on the line. Like, it's not like, Martell and Arion has all of this money that they can pay her, to tell these lies and basically ruin her reputation. I just don't think that, that's even possible. Let's just start there. Okay. So even though, she's disgusting for saying that, and putting that out there to the public, I do believe that it's true. It's just the life she lives. She said that she was a stripper. So usually when you do those type of activities for money, there isn't a whole lot that you won't do for money. So she's just comfortable talking about, her sexual escapades to the public, you know. So, that's what makes me feel like most of what she said is true. The only thing that I think she lied about was including saying that Martell was not a part of the actual activities. I believe that he was definitely there, and he might have also went off and did his own thing, but I do believe that he was included in whatever she had going on with those brothers. And Sharon says she was too adamant and kept repeating that he was gambling. So I also believe Martell was involved, but I believe her. Exactly, Sharon. So she was obviously trying to cover up for Martell because, Ariane was going to be there and she didn't want Ariel to know the truth. So I'm pretty sure that Martell was the one that reached out to her and asked her to do this interview, but gave her very strict instructions, and told her, do not say that I was in the room with you, Maurice, and Martell having sex. Okay. That's something that he didn't want to get out there. But he definitely wanted to put those brothers on blast to let everyone know that that's how they get down. And I am not, shocked at all because, Maurice did say that he slept with up to six women. Well, let me take that back. He says that he's slept with up to six people. He didn't say whether they were men or women at the same time. So I feel like that's just something that those brothers are into. Okay. And another thing that I would like to point out is the fact that Funky Dineva came out and called Coleslaw and Martell clowns. Okay. So the fact that Funky said that, makes me feel like that Carlos King and Martell is not on good terms right now because I feel like him and Funky Dineva, they're pretty good friends. He's been on his show. I think that, they have some type of brotherhood or whatever the case may be. So I'm sure they have had conversations. So for him to come out and say that leads me to believe that Carlos King and Martell are not on good terms. Okay. We all know that, he's really good friends with the Scots as well. So I think that he felt like he had to come out and say something. But before he came out and said something, I believe that he also had a conversation with Carlos King. So the next thing that I want to talk about. Hey, Sandra P, thank you so much for being here. And guys, if you have not done so already, please like the video, please, and thank you. So the next thing that I want to talk about is the fact that I am 95% sure that this show is a done deal. It's not coming back. And I'm going to tell you why I feel this way. And if anybody has anything to add to my reasons why I don't feel like this show is coming back, you're welcome to come up. I will drop the link and you can add your perspective on this as well. So, the first obvious sign that this show is not coming back is that there is no evidence of the show being renewed. Okay. We have heard that Bell Collective, which is a show I do not watch, but I have heard that they got renewed. Okay. So that's the first sign that this show might not be coming back. And Amani S says, I also believe those brothers are into wife swapping. Yes, absolutely, Imani S. And I believe you said that before, and I totally agree. And before I get into why I don't feel like this show is coming back, let me just add on to what Imani said. The reason why I feel like that these brothers wife swap is because when they were at the field day, field trip at the park, whatever you want to call it, the little outing that Destiny set up, the way that Marceau was rubbing Kimmy's hair, that was very awkward for me. Like, that was very weird. So that's why that, and just how cozy they were in that pool when they were on their anniversary vacation. The fact that Maurice was openly flirting with girls in the pool, the fact that Kimmy was kissing, Tisha on her neck. There's just a lot of weird stuff going down, amongst that family. Okay. And Sandra P says, I agree. That's why they call Mel bougie. They couldn't include her. Yes, honey, they would have loved to have Mel, having those, threesomes, foursomes, fivesomes, sixsomes, whatever the case may be. And they couldn't break her. They were trying to break her, and just kind of, get her into that whole lifestyle that they're into. And she wasn't having it. So you are absolutely right, Sandra P. I think that's why they call male bougie. Okay. So back to the reasons why I feel like this show won't be renewed. The fact that Sunny came out and said that she's not coming back. Either Sunny knows something that we don't know, and I think Sunny was tired of being quiet. Since I feel like she already knows that the show is not coming back, instead of just waiting till until Carlos wanted to put that out there, she got tired of Destiny, just coming for her. So she wanted to go ahead and put it out there. She doesn't care anymore. So she wanted to go ahead and put that out there so she can just go on with her life. Okay. So that's another reason. And then the fact that Trish, when she did her interview with Millichun, and we're going to talk about that some more, a lot of people in the audience. And by the way, guys, if you have not seen that interview, it was a really, really good interview. So please go and give, Militon those likes, watch hours, whatever the case may be. If you haven't seen, and Sandra P, I did see you come up and ask a question. You guys had some really good questions, and I'm glad she allowed some of the questions to come from the audience because when you're interviewing people, like sometimes you don't want to ask those hard questions just because you want to give some grace to the people that gave you the opportunity to interview you on their platform. So you want to give them some grace. You're going to ask certain questions, and she asked some very good questions. Don't get me wrong, she asked all the right questions, but she also allowed her audience to come up and ask some questions as well because she also read some comments, from the audience, but she allowed people to come up. So the fact that people were asking Trish about the show, in so many words, they didn't want to say, is the show being renewed? So a lot of times they just kind of phrased it, are you coming back to the show? And the fact that she said that she didn't know if she was coming back to the show, your clout chasing ass man Ken would definitely come back to the show. And I'm sure you would too. So I feel like Trish is only saying that because she knows that it's a wrap and that the show isn't coming back. And that's just my own opinion. And Sandra P says, you notice Trish opened up the end. I know we're hard on her, but I can't judge. Um, I did notice that. And basically, she's saying the same things pretty much that she's already said. We learned a few new things about Trish, but not that much new stuff, except for the questions that, like I said, people in the comments were asking and the questions that they came up on the panel to ask. That's when we kind of found out things that we didn't know. So the another reason why I feel like this show isn't coming back. Hey, Patrina Winters, thank you so much for being here. And please, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, Patrina. I think this is my first time seeing you here. And the other reason why I feel like this show isn't coming back is because when CK did his Sunday sermon, whatever you want to call it, I wish he wouldn't play with God the way that he does, with all of these Bible readings or whatever the case. He kept saying that he was closing doors and new beginnings. So I feel like he was somewhat putting it out there that this show won't be coming back. Okay. Okay. Awesome. And Imani S says somebody explained to Carlos that you don't have to play dates with the help. Martell was jealous when you invited the Scots, bro. Mm, I feel like Martell and Carlos King haven't been in a good place for a very long time. So I feel like, that's the reason why Carlos allowed Trisha to come on his platform and say what she said. Even though he said allegedly, he knew exactly what I'm sorry, Tisha was going to say. And the reason why I say that is if you look at every other scenario when somebody came on there and said something wrong, I feel like at this point, Carlos King is having a conversation with people before he brings them onto the show, just to make sure they don't say anything that they're not supposed to say and anything that will land him in a lawsuit. So I definitely feel like Carlos King had a conversation with Tisha and Marceau before Tisha came on there and announced and put it out there that Martell is gay. Okay. I believe that he was a part of all of that. And I feel like that maybe he blames this whole cast for the fact that this show is not returning, that they did not get renewed. So at this point, I feel like that he's allowing all of them to blast each other, go at it on social media, do whatever, because at this point the show is not returning. So who cares? So yes, that's the main reason why I feel like this show is not returning. On top of the fact that Melody does not promote this show and she does not talk about this show. Okay. So if you look at all of that, I mean, I feel like it's pretty obvious that this show is not going to be renewed. There's too much going on. There's too many lawsuits floating around. And this is just my opinion that this show is not returning. And we all know Braden Lee has said this from the beginning. So, if this show ends up being renewed, I will come back on my platform and say that I was wrong. But I honestly don't feel like I'm wrong. I don't feel like this show is going to be renewed. And Katrina Winter said my thoughts exactly. Okay. So we are definitely on the same page. And then I also want to talk about the fact, because it's getting real ugly, guys, that True T, shout out to her. She did drop a video and she gave an update of what's going on with the lawsuit between Black Titanic and her lawyer and Maurice and okay. So she did update us to let us know that Black Titanic's lawyer has updated the lawsuit to include that, four new added four new things to the lawsuit saying that the um own use their platform to incite I don't want to say it wrong because I'm not looking at exactly what was said, but they did upgrade the lawsuit with some more accusations. Okay, so if you haven't watched that video, definitely go and check that out as well. So things are heating up when it comes to this lawsuit. Everybody is running scared, everybody is afraid of being sued. And Martell has kind of insinuated that he will be suing the Scots, which I don't believe. Martell, you don't have money to pay the lawyers for everything you already got going on. So I there's no way that you will have money to sue the Scots. And Amani says, at one point, Melody was working hard promoting the show while the others just collected a check. Exactly. And Patrina also said they was trying to take Mel down. Exactly. But it did not work. And once that didn't work, they didn't have a storyline. So I'm pretty sure that, Carlos lit a fire up under their ass and told them that you can't continue to write off of bashing Mel. You're going to have to tell some of your own truths. So I believe that when Destiny put that, outing together, that that was the whole point of that, for everybody to start telling what's going on with their lives. Melody is not here. You cannot continue to use her as a storyline. So they knew that they had to spill some tea. So, being that they stopped talking to Martell a long time ago, the last time that Maurice was able to convince Marceau to try to talk to Martell was when they pulled up on him when he was at that house that he was trying to sell. And at that point, Marceau was already, he was already done with Martell. But he allowed Maurice to talk to him because at the end of the day, they didn't want their dirt to be out there. But I think at that point, Marceau was just getting tired of kissing up to Martell, being threatened behind the scenes, which I'm sure that he was threatening them behind the scenes. So he was already starting to cut Martell off at that point. And Sandra P said Martell would do better suing Kingdom, Reign, and CK. Exactly. But again, I just don't think he has the funds to sue anybody. And Aries Girl said, Imani says, you're always clocked in on your reads. And I am here for it. Yes. Imani be on them reads. So, and then guys, I'm not sure if you seen when Ariane and Hotel, they went live after the interview. The very first live that Martell did after the interview, he was having a lot of technical difficulties. So that didn't really go over well. They was reading his ass in the comments, so he was getting sidetracked because of that. And he also did not really want Ariel to be in that live. I think that's the reason why he wanted to go live on his platform, is because she was there, but I don't think he necessarily wanted her in that live. So again, they was having a lot of technical difficulties, so that live was very quick. So they went live again in the car, and they were talking about the feedback that they were getting from the interview. And she was also letting Martell know that a lot of people thought that he had been with the side chick as well, not just Maurice and Marceau. Okay. And like during that interview, when she said that Marceau tried to kick her to the curb, with the white men or whatever the case may be. I believe Marceau was doing that because he already got what he wanted from her, and Marceau was ready to move on to the next victim. You know, I mean, I feel like when these guys are away to play, you know, that's exactly what they're doing, and they were not going to limit themselves to this one chick who happens to be there who was willing to sleep with all of these guys. Okay, so they were probably trying to get rid of her so that they could find their next victim. And she was trying to shut it down. She was sticking around. And more than likely, they didn't have a lot of, opportunity to go out and meet other ladies. Okay. And also when they went live in the car, so this was pretty much Ariane's time to shine because she had that filter on, and Martell was not trying to have that filter on his face. So he really didn't want his face to be shown, because he didn't want to use that filter that Ariane was trying to push on him. So that live, I don't know if I missed something because I did watch it from another content creator, but that live wasn't very long. But at the end of that live, she did tell people to go and subscribe to her channel because she's obviously trying to, move forward with this YouTube thing. We know that she said a while back that she was going to be posting on her YouTube and she never did. But it seems like Ariane has been able to pull, some confidence from somewhere. And I could see her utilizing this platform now that she has 8,000 plus subscribers to go on there and get paid to talk her shit. She's been talking all these years for free. And I think somebody has finally gotten into her head and said, girl, if you're going to run your mouth on social media, you might as well get paid for it. So I think she's really going to be trying to push this YouTube channel. I did not subscribe. And if any of you subscribe, I wouldn't subscribe to the mess. If you want to listen, that's fine. But I just wouldn't subscribe to the channel. That's just me. But to each his own. Okay. But I definitely feel like her and Martell have figured out another way to make money because they know this show is getting ready to end. Martell don't have no friends left. He doesn't have any sources to make money. So I definitely believe that they are going to utilize that YouTube platform. But we'll find out. But yes, guys, what do you think about? I have not had the opportunity to watch the last episode. I have to go back and catch up on that. This is kind of like Christmas week, so I've been, busy doing some other things, but I will go back and watch the episodes. I don't really review the show, so it's not really a pressing issue for me to, talk about that last episode, but I do like to stay on top of things. So I will watch just so that I can, be on top of things and know what's going on out here in these YouTube streets. But what do you guys think about these new charges being added? Not charges, the updates from BT's lawyer. What do you think about the review or the interview? The interview was definitely all over the place, but we didn't really expect anything different from Ariel. She's never done this before, so we didn't really have any expectations. And Katrina says, I'm not going to subscribe or listen. I will get it from content creators. Absolutely, Katrina. That's the right thing to do because there is no way we're going to give this girl, help this girl make an income after everything that she's done this entire over the last 10 years. We're just not here for it. Okay. So, guys, that is going to conclude my video for today. I will be back tomorrow to cover my recap of Married to Medicine. So, I hope I see you guys tomorrow when I do my recap. And hopefully, you've already had the chance to watch it. And you'll chime in when I do my recap of Married to Medicine on tomorrow. And Imani says she's with Katrina. She's not going to subscribe. And she's just going to get the information from the other content creators. Because Ariane, she's really feeling herself right now. She feel like she did her big one, going on there and, saying what she had to say about the Scots. And by the way, I did see Wanda go live a couple of times and say what she thought about the interview. Wanda, just like Carlos, I believe she watches these YouTube screeds and that's how she decides what she's going to talk about on her lives. Because when she first went live, she didn't say a whole lot. She just basically said that he was lying. And if the girl did sleep with Marcel, it was so long ago. It was when he was working at the theater. Like she's really backtracking, but she didn't really go in too hard. So I think after watching, and hearing what the content creators had to say, she came back and she went a lot harder, you know, on coleslaw and hotel. So I believe after watching the content creators and what they had to say about the interview and about her going live, she came back to go a little bit harder on, hotel and coleslaw. And Sandra P says, thanks for going live. And Imani says, hit that like button. It's free 99. Tap the screen. It don't cost a thing. Okay. So, guys, that's going to be it. Thank you to everyone who joined me on this live. I really, really do appreciate it. And that's going to be all for this video. Thank you so much for watching and Bye for now.